I think it's so beautiful, huh? Marben b'simcha. First, I want to thank everybody. This is Parshas Truma. Yom Rishon Parshas Truma. Thank you, Torah Anytime. Thank you, Kavish Kocha Pratis. Thank you, Kol HaLoshen. Thank the Rabbeinu Shalom for everything. And now we're going to begin. We must start with a joke. First of all, it's a Gemara. Rava used to start a shir with a joke. You know that? Start with a joke. That makes people... Rava, Malach Hashem Tzvok, started his shir with a joke. You have to learn. The Tanoim were into jokes. What's going on here? You got to make a joke. Rava started with a joke. Okay, here goes. For Ador, for sure we need one. Now, I'm going to be quite nasty. I hope the Elam will be able to tolerate what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be very nasty right now. Be ready. This is really nasty. You sure you want to hear me? There's some other guys. You can hear them. There's a lot of good people out there. But if you want to hear me, get ready. Here goes. Now, I went to New York and I told a joke. Now, first of all, when I'm going to say this joke over, it's high risk. Why? Because, we heard that one already. So that my coverage already in the garbage. He doesn't have any jokes left. That's a traumatic thing for me. No jokes. Can you think of something new? Just busy with chazering old jokes. That's the only joke you know. So you understand I'm under a lot of pressure right now. Just in case the Elam heard my joke already, then I'm in trouble. Never they heard my joke. Here goes. I say, if you heard it already, it's time for chazara. So here goes. Now, my father-in-law was a Munkach Chassid with a Shtreimel. And he never fell in with me, the Litvak. I fell in with him too. You know, that's how it goes. And my wife is more Litvish. You know, he sent her to Beis Yaakov. That's what happens. So she's also on the Litvish side. One day, the Chapping and Shmooze together. My father-in-law is talking with my wife, and my wife says, Mashiach is going to be a Litvak. Real My Shver says, no. Mashiach is not going to be a Litvak. His donkey is going to be a Litvak. Zan Eisel geht Zan a Litvak. He's not going to be a Litvak. Now, I told over this joke when I went to Borough Park, and I was speaking for over 200 Chassidim over there, and I knew it's good for me. If I'm going to speak before Chassidim, I better make the kind of jokes that they might appreciate. So I told over this. And then when I told it over, I said, I want the door closed, please. Close that door before I say this joke. Can you please close that door? Yes. And please, nobody, don't let this get back to Lakewood. That was a joke. Anyway, they laughed. They liked the joke. What? Self-hating. So, we're kidding, you know. Well, when I came back to Lakewood, I told the joke again. I told it twice, this time in front of the Litvaks. And I saw that they laughed. In my perception, they laughed louder than the Chassidim. They were really laughing. The Litvaks were on the floor. Yes, donkey's going to be a Litvak. You know, they laughed. They were laughing. So I needed a pshat. Why did the Litvaks laugh more on this joke than the Chassidim? And I have a pshat. Because by the Litvaks, it's taka a joke. I'm afraid by the Chassidim it's not such a joke. I'm joking. It's Adar. You have to make jokes now. I want to tell you something about, oh boy, I'm going to tell you what Bali B'tochen can do. They can turn over the world. Watch out for them. Bal B'tochen is, you know, there's a Chazal that says, Kol mi shebeiteh b'Hashem nasa b'yotz ki yotze b'oi, v'beiteh b'Hashem you become mamish like Hashem. Shenem b'Hashem The one who's beiteach in him becomes like Hashem mamish. Unbelievable. You have such power. You're mamish like Hashem. You're a big shot around here. I know people who use remote control. They use remote control when they want to control the people around them. They don't talk to people much. They get what they want just by dominating. I know of a certain woman. Her kids were driving her up a wall until she got smart, and she learned how to go into the other room and say, Eibishter, put that kid in his place, please. I'm telling you, her husband told me about this. I know a younger man who had a family situation where his wife wasn't worth much. I mean, she wasn't for the family. She just wasn't. You know, he married a lady that's, you know, and he himself didn't think he was the greatest. You know, he figured, in my case, there's three partners to a person. There's Hashem, and there's a husband and a wife. In my case, Hashem is going to be a much more dominating role than in normal cases. And the guy started talking to Hashem like nobody. Everything that went on in the house, he, instead of talking to his wife, she said, would you want to discuss what we should do with the kids? He knows already where he's holding. He's in for fireworks. As soon as he opens his mouth, his wife lets him have it. And he lets her have it, you know. So you're going nowhere. What are you wasting your time for? He says, I'm going to the other partner in our union. There's Hashem, three partners in their marriage. So you went to Hashem, and he told him what's on his mind. And boy, he got everything he wanted. He got everything. He mamish got everything he wanted. He said he used to do shtiklach. He called it remote control. He watched his kid doing what they wanted. One time, he didn't like a shidduch. He wanted a shidduch. He did want it. He didn't want it. One of his sons was looking into a shidduch. He didn't like the girl. He says, Eibishter, make them hate each other tomorrow. The next day, son comes back. Oh, she's disgusting. Mamish did things like that. Then he wanted a shidduch, not a shidduch, but it was his daughter, and the yeshiva was a hard, you know, she was getting a top boy, and you can't get him so easily. And now they're going to ask, the boy was going to ask his Rosh Yeshiva his opinion, and knowing the Rosh Yeshiva, he used to nix everything. Of course, you know, you can't get, he used to go up in an attic somewhere, and he'd say, Hashem, make that Rosh Yeshiva behave himself. And exactly, Rosh Yeshiva turned into butter. No one believed it. He didn't fire a shot. And everybody wondered, what got into him? Because this guy, if you really believe in Hashem, you're in a different world. Try to make believe. Chapash moves with him. Talk with Hashem. Tell him what's on your mind. Hashem, thank you so much for getting, he got the shidduch. And he made shtiklach. He wanted this one, didn't want that one. He got everything he wanted. It was crazy. And they all lived happily ever after. They all did well. Unbelievable person. You're close to Hashem. What you can do, what people can do. They're close to Hashem. What a person can do. Who was like that? Esther. Esther's forgot that Achashverosh is standing there, and she thinks she forgot that he was standing there. So she's about to point to him. He is the nasty guy around, about to point to her husband, the king, who can. You know what Achashverosh did to Vashti? He burned her alive. That's what he did. That's what Mayam Lawyer says. He burned her alive. Isn't that a nice husband? When his wife gets out of hand, burn you alive, no problem. And she's that who wants to marry such a guy, and she's stuck with him. She got, you know, she better watch every move you're making. But if the 3 days of fasting and her head is up with Hashem the way it's supposed to be, she wants to tell Hashem what she thinks of Achashverosh, and she's about to point to him, Achashverosh, you are the Rasha. She was about to do that. The Malach had to push her away and put her finger to Haman. It's an unbelievable story. But she was in a different world. Esther HaMalka was in a different world. Madregas of being close to Hashem. She was about to call him a dog. She was about to call Achashverosh a dog. She lost the Ruach HaKodesh. You don't do that to a king. So she called him a lion. So then the Eibishter accepted that. So why did she want to call him a dog? I'll tell you why. Because in her mind, he was a zero. She came from Binyamin. And there's a Netziv, one of my favorite Netzivs, beautiful Netziv. Netziv says that Shevet Binyamin is different than all the other Shvatim. Shevet Binyamin is kings in B'tachan and Hefkerus. That's what he calls it, Hefkerus. They're crazy. They're like the Hefka. Now what's that all about? Says the Holy Netziv. David HaMelech, you never find him using a pea shooter to kill somebody. Well, he took a slingshot to kill Goliath. Goliath thought, what's going on? Am I a dog? Notice, a dog. Here we go with a dog. Am I a dog? You're coming to me with sticks and stones? Where's your spear? Where's your sword? Where's your shield? You know, we're going to have hand-to-hand combat. We're going to fight it out. You don't come to me with a stone. Are you serious? You're degrading me. And David said, that's exactly what I'm trying to do. You are exactly a dog. That's exactly the way I see you. He didn't say that. He said worse. When he said, Goliath, he said, the birds are going to be eating your flesh. You're not worth a penny. You got to see the psukim. David's brazen as he comes up here. You have to understand he had a piece of Esav in him. I mean, his nature was Esav. He didn't have a piece of Esav, Chas v'Sholom, but he had that. He had it in him. It was just in tight control. All his life, he was sweet. It was wonderful. But you got on his bad side. And if you're fighting against Gans Klal Yisrael, oh no. And he's Machara from Megadeh for what he was doing. He was cursing and he was making chayzik. And Goli said, watch what I'm going to do to you. You're not worth a penny. And you got to see those psukim. And everyone's going to know there's an Eibishter in this world. You don't do what you want around here. That's what happens when David HaMelech spends all the 31st years of his life alone in the forest. When you're kicked out of your family, it's the best thing. You know that? Do you know that? When you're kicked, don't look for trouble. But if you're kicked out of your family, David was. They kicked him out. He wasn't. They didn't respect him in his family. He was like. They didn't respect him. He was like, when Shmuel Hanavi came, they presented the whole family. David was left out. They thought he was a mamzer. They wanted a lion or a bear should kill him. They didn't want to kill him directly, but let the lions and bears kill him. He don't count. Now, Moini, he's such a tough guy, and he's a mamzer. There was something happened before he was born where they thought he was a mamzer. They were wrong, but still. So how would you like to be a good traumatic experience? Would you like to be anybody complaining about his younger years? They didn't treat me right. Oh, the teachers, what they did to me, the parents, the teachers, the siblings. Oh, how much I went through. Okay, let's take a look at David HaMelech. What kind of youth did he have? Look at that. To leave him out to get killed. Anyway, now he's coming in. And a psychologist would have had a field day with David HaMelech. This is going to be lots of money for me. This guy will hold him for the rest of his life to get rid of all the trauma. You have to understand his father was a Gadol Hador who never sinned in his life. And when he went out of the yeshiva, how many? 50,000 Talmidim followed Yishai? How many? How many? What's that? Samach Riboy. 60 myriads. Very good. 60 myriads. When he walked out of yeshiva, all following, drinking his every word. That's your father. And his brothers were Rosh Yeshivas. They weren't kids. They're Gedolei Yisrael. His oldest brother, Shmuel Hanavi, took one look at him and says, that must be the king. Because he was so Eliyav, tall, beautiful. And David, so how would you like to have a father who's so world famous and everyone's eating out of his hands, and he, together with the brothers, would rather you wouldn't be around? You know what a trauma what that could do to a person? So if you have only Hashem, which David discovered, he stayed alone, and he sang to the Eibush in the forest, and he developed a relationship with Hashem. It was worth it. Because alone, if it would have been the family with the brothers, speaking and learning, accepted, best thing when you're in trouble. Somebody has a difficult marriage or a difficult family or difficult anything. Go straight to Hashem and become friends with Him. And then when the day comes and nobody knows they're coming or going, because Goliath was a giant, and everyone was petrified. He was covered head to toe with copper, and everybody was petrified of him, not to get near him. And he was smart enough to know that to be mevatel him, Krishma, Shachris, and Arvis for 40 days. And he says, nobody's going to fight me because I know Krishma could save you. I'm not going to let that happen. You're not saying Krishma. It's mevatel him. Anyways, so David steps up and he says, oh yeah, I'll put you in your place. What a beautiful story. And the thing is, he called him a dog. Now, why did David use a slingshot? He never did that later. He only did it here. Later on, he took a battle axe, or whatever he took. He took a bow and arrow. That's known. He used to shoot. And David HaMelech was a warrior. Why did he? Oh, now he says the Netziv, you know why he took a slingshot? Because he was under Binyamin. The king those days was Shaul. Binyamin is a different type of Shevet. Binyamin is a Shevet that never bowed down to Esav or Rosh. Binyamin, kum tarai, machzachemish, kum tarai. Binyamin is a Shevet that never, kum tarai, bo b'hamay nechem. Oh, the Torah anytime. Did you hear what I just said now? Look, they're all coming. They're flooding me. They're coming from we have Silver Spring, Maryland. Maryland, thanks for coming. Make sure it's good for us. Make yourself comfortable. We're holding. You're the best. We're holding in the middle of Jack. Mitten from Jack, mitten from vodka. That's it. We're good. We're chashuva people. We know how to drink. Anyway, so David HaMelech says the Heilige Netziv. David HaMelech. Why did he take a pea shooter to kill this giant? A slingshot? What's going on here? He never did that again. Because he's under Binyamin. Right now, the Malchus is in the hands of Shevet Binyamin, Shaul. And Binyamin never bowed down to Esav or Russia. Binyamin looks at Esav like he's a hunt. Like Esther, you're a dog over there. That's a dog. Shevet Binyamin. Now, I'm building on the Netziv. The Netziv says this, what I'm saying. The dog business, I'm throwing it. But the Netziv says that Shevet Binyamin, they go betochen. That whole machlekes by Kriyas Yamsuf, how do you want it to happen? And Yehuda wanted something in Teva, and it'll split also. And Binyamin said, throw Teva in the garbage. We don't believe in Teva. We have the Eibishter. We never bow down to Asa. We're not into that stuff. We go straight to the Eibishter, take a pea shooter and kill him. I'll give you a riot to this beautiful stuff. Pelegish Begiva. By the story of Pelegish Begiva, the Shevet Binyamin went to war against the entire Klal Yisrael. And they won twice. And it says that they took 700 slingshots. 700 archers used. They were lefties, which is weird. Lefties, and I typed lefty as being non-conventional. Lefty symbolizes something. I left at the system. Like the Netziv says, Shevet Binyamin had Betochen and Efkedis. They're a different league. They're not into Teva. We laugh off the whole Teva. You know what Yonasan did? That's why he loved David so much. According to the Malbim. You know, Yonasan loved David? They were the same type. They had Teva in the garbage can. They were not impressed with Teva. Both of Yonasan, his father, were about to fight a war against millions of Plishtim. And Yonasan says, okay, what do we have to bother with this war? All these people coming. He calls his arms bearer. Aim, the famous words, Aim Matzor, Aim Lashem Matzor, Loishia B'Rava Mamat. What's the difference to Hashem? Let's knock him off. And he did. He went to arms bearer, he wiped out all the Plishtim like a joke. He started with a sword, and they got all to tumult, and it was over. The war was over. Yonasan did the job himself. I have to wait for a whole battle? That's Yonasan. And now you got David. You see the similarity? They loved each other for a reason. This says the Malbim. Because in Emunah B'Tachon, we're the same. We understand each other. That's pshat. They loved each other like there's nose. What's going on here? David and Yonasan loved each other. Us too. We're friends. We know what the Eibishter is. We laugh at the world. Beautiful stuff. And that's why Esther now want to add, according to the Netziv. So first I want to say why they had slingshots at Pelegish Begiva. They went to war against the whole Klal Yisrael, just Shevet Binyamin alone, and they were wrong. They had done something terrible. I don't want to tell the whole story, but no, that's why the whole Klal Yisrael had a chiyuv to go to war against them. And Binyamin won twice. And what are they doing with 700 slingshots? A slingshot, that's all on Taina, according to the Netziv. Fits in great. We don't need this stuff. We're Binyamin. We laugh at the system. You all go to work. That's so nice. You'll go to doctors. We're not into that stuff. We have the Eibishter, Shevet Binyamin, Yemini. Anyway, that's what I wanted to tell you. So Esther Amalka says, she points at Achashverosh, the hunt. This guy's a dog. I'm not Geiris you. In Binyamin, they weren't afraid of people. I'm not Geiris you. I never bow down to Esav. I'm a different. She said, well, who are you, Achashverosh? She was about to point out. She was, Achashverosh, lady, are you okay? Chas v'shalom to say such a thing. But what are you doing? She was about to point to Achashverosh and say, you're to Russia. She's not scared of him. Look what's going on. And she called him a dog, but she couldn't. He was a melech. But I tell you, that's why she called him a dog, because in her eyes, you are a dog. Now, I want to tell you something. Why did Haman end up in the garbage can? Because when he was big, in Mordechai's eyes, he was already dead meat. He didn't see Haman. Everyone sees Haman. I don't see that stuff. You know the real Baba Tachan? I tell you, Evan Ezra says this on Yaina Hanavi. When he was inside the fish, it says Yaina Hanavi didn't see. He talked in past tense. I'm out of here already. You know that? You got to see the Lashon over there in Yaina. Where he talks, he's inside the fish. I'm already in Yerushalayim. I'm past this whole thing. The Navi's B'tachan is so great. He's like, he's not thinking in the present. He's, okay. I tell this to people a lot. It works wonders. I tell people, someone just called the sick, whenever someone's sick, I say, you're going to look back and laugh. Oh, remember we were so worried and nothing happened? Remember? That's what you're going to do. I say this all the time. That's the way a Navi, Evan Ezra says this in Yaina. And that's it. So Mordechai takes a look at Haman, and he says, Haman, you don't count. You got to see the Midrashim. You must see him. Amlai brings them all down. He says, he looks at Haman, he had a jambo. The jambo is a metal piece that's on your feet. And they were once both generals, Mordechai and Haman, both 5-star generals, that there was a revolt. India rebelled against Persia. And Achashverosh sent Mordechai and Haman to squash them all out of this. So Haman, before the battles, he decided to have a little fun, and he started drinking Jack Daniels, and he drank vodka, and his men started smoking, and what is it called? Weeds, a little marijuana. They had a little fun. Weed, what do they call weed? weeds and schmeeds and mit Mashiach gemacht, trinken and schreichen and machen freilach. All right. But after a while, they had no money left. And they have to fight. They're fighting a war. And there's no money left. What are we going to do now? We're messed up. Don't start up with him. What are we going to do? So he runs to Mordechai. Can you do me a favor? We're all messed up. You give us some money. He said, Mordechai, no problem. Mordechai was a good businessman. And he said, no problem. Here, you see my jambo? Jambo is the shield they have on the foot. You know, they put a metal piece over there on both feet. He said, right down on the jambo, I, Haman, am a slave to Mordechai. No, go write it and give you the money. A deal? Deal. So, now, years later, when Haman's running the world, everyone got to bow down to him. So Mordechai's walking in the street, and Haman says, why aren't you bowing down to me? Mordechai picks up his foot, says, Haman, remember? See that? You're my slave. Get lost. You know, you're not scaring me. The stolz, the chutzpah. Ooh. What? Look at the chutzpah that Mordechai had. He wasn't scared of him. Then when he got on the horse, he told Haman, Rasha, he called him Rasha. He says, he steps on his neck, he kicks him on the way up. At first, you got to give me a bath. You gotta give me a haircut. No, I'm weak. I'm fasting. You have to, and Haman's going with sugar. And the Achashverosh says, Al tapel mikol ma'ashi dibarter. So on the way up, he kicks him on the neck. So Haman said, what was that for? I know, Haman knew how to learn. He wasn't a Moritz. Haman knew how to learn. He said, it says in Vechal Tismach. You're not supposed to do that. Yeah. He says, no, that's only with us Jews between each other. But guys like you, said, you step on his head, you don't count. And the Mordechai spoke to with chutzpah, no fear whatsoever. Binyamin. See? Shevet Binyamin. Not spoiled, I don't even see you. Now, what do we have from this? The doctor, someone just called me up now. Maybe she had hoped them. This person is Nebuchadnezzar, whatever he has. And the doctor gave him, it's hopeless. That's very intelligent for doctors to talk like that. I don't know. With medical school, they don't teach you basic, what do you want to do to these people, Well, there's no hope, and that's, what do you have for? They did it to me also. Don't worry. I fafamun. You got to learn how to fafamun. You sometimes have to be a little bit grub with the people around you. If they're destroying you, look. In an Edel Eifen, the Eibishter had it when Aaron was intimidated by the Nesiim. The Eibishter said, Shalcha gedolim shalahem. You're better than them. What happened? He's making them fall gaivanik. You're better than them. See that? I do this with people. They say, Rabbi Mendel, it's not right. I'm better than everyone else. That's gaiva. Everyone's scared of gaiva. I say, okay, if the Eibishter can do that with Aaron, I can't do that with you. Well, I don't chap. Everyone's so scared of gaiva. That's gaiva. No. I'm afraid of gaiva. Afraid of gaiva. Do you know how many Gedolei Yisrael? I went to a Chassidish Rebbe in Yerushalayim. His name, the Zvila Rebbe, Zangezint Shtak, sweet. No, it wasn't. Yeah, I went to him, and I went to a different Rebbe over there, the Sachachava Rebbe. Were they the most lovely people you ever met? Both of them. This point, boy, were they behind me. I told the Sachachava Rebbe, I says, my pshat in the gaiva of Yosef. Enenu Garlo Babayis is many. I'm the biggest man around here. That's what Yosef HaTzadik. That's how you talk. He's a tzaddik. Yeah, Yosef HaTzadik. Nobody bigger than me around here. So I made a whole thing out of that. Anyway, we spoke together for half an hour. And when we finished speaking, he says, that part I like the best. All right? The gaiva will save you from all the worst sins. You know how hard it is to be a Balgaiva? You got a horror of your whole life. These days, you're the Chul Shel Olam. You know, the Chofetz Chaim said after the First World War, he never saw so many eyeglasses and heart problems. And the Welt says, you're the Chul Shel Olam. And Reb Chatzkel said, people don't have Amunah the way they used to. And the whole world is weak. They're weak. My Shver and my Shviga, Leah Masholem, told me that in the Heim, back in Europe, the food tasted better. You know that? I heard they used to stay up all Thursday night, all Friday night to learn both nights in certain yeshivas. They had different kaiches. So you're going to use their musas for them. Okay, enjoy it. Right. And I tell you, the weiter garnish, the Gaius, so it's Gaius. So Gaius, no good. Now, I'll be about Gaius, that's not right. It's not right to be. By the way, there's a point. But watch out with that meter. I'm just telling you, two Chassidish Rebbes told me this. Shmuel Rozovsky, they wanted to make a vada in another. He said, Shmuel Rozovsky. Rav Wolbe, I heard from an eyewitness. Someone asked, we want to work on another. Rav Wolbe turns around. I think we have to work on Gaiva, Rav Hutner. One said, I'd like to pour Gaiva on everybody's head. This is 40 years ago. They knew that there's a problem. You must have Gaiva. And when I say Gaiva, better than everyone around you, I say this to all my chavra, not the guy next to you. There's Ayin Panim L'Torah. You have to find the thing that makes you come out the best. And people who struggle are the greatest people in the world. If you struggle, the Eibishter loves you. Person who struggles, somebody just told me today I have an inferiority complex. I said, boy, you're lucky. Inferiority complex is a bracha min hashamayim. Go fight. I know somebody that's interessant. A certain person, he was persecuted by his family. He had a very hard family life. They killed him all over the place. Nobody liked him, and he couldn't get married. You know what he did? He was big in Amunah B'tachon. And he said, I'm going to show them. He was very older and divorced, and no one wanted him. He couldn't do a shidduch in a million years. And I know his wife mentioned that she got into it by the shotgun, pulled a fast one on her, and it was too late before she woke up. One of those days, the guy said, I'm going to show them dafka. I'm going to dafka get married and get everything, the chutzpah that this younger man had. He got a beautiful shidduch. It's unbelievable, Maisa. Because chutzpah, I'll show them. Hear that? I'll show them you have more chutzpah. Anyway, okay. I told somebody recently, I'm going very, very nasty today. This younger man comes over to me. I've said this many times, but it's Kedai to Chazrit. Comes over to me. He has never done something very not right. Really bad. He's embarrassed. You can't even talk about it. He still didn't tell me exactly what, but my imagination is from the real. And this fellow is not a regular person. He's a person that's known all over and that does, he's a big whatever. And now he fell in. He says, I feel like a hypocrite. I can't go on. You know what I told him? You want me to help you go on? First thing, a leopard, Reb Nosson Zatzal used to say, B'Shem Yerushalmi, I don't know, I still haven't found it, but it's known that a leopard is weaker than a lion because a leopard is a mamza. He's a cross of a lion and a tiger. So when a lion and a leopard get together, the leopard has such chutzpah that the lion, who's really stronger than him, runs away. Reb Nosson probably wanted to plug. You make cholosh yema giborani. I'm the picture now. So I asked the guy's a mamza. How does the Heilige Shulchan Aruch, the tour, start off? Go be a mamza. Woo. So I told this guy, you're afraid of continuing the work that you're doing because of your Averis? It says before, first lesson is go be a mamzer. Zayin says, tzaddik, but I'm mamzer. Yeah, go hang yourself. I'm in charge around here. The older you say, you have to be a chaverman. You know how many people I have to tell this to? People are falling apart because of their good nature and they're warm, they're sweet, and they're nice, and they fall apart when they can't hit the kids. Do you know that there's I'm going to say it. I have to be a little funny, but it's true. This guy, whatchamacallit, Shane, you know that there's a medrash in Rus. You know what Shvaita Shoftim means? So it means like this. In the time of Rus, they used to judge the judges. The judges used to tell everybody off. So they used to say, Tulk, get that splinter out of your tooth. When the Shoftim would tell people, get that splinter out of your tooth, it means you're doing Averis, do tshuva. So the people used to tell them back, get that beam out from between your eyes. You're 10 times worse. It's a way of saying, you got worse Averis than all of us. It was a chutzpah d'kedar. That was the zman of Rus. That's how Rus starts. There's another medrash that says, when they gave somebody Malchus those days, when the guy got his 39 whacks, he picked up the whip, he grabbed the whip out of the guy's hands, and he whipped him back. There's a medrash like that. Oh, yeah, you're giving me Malchus? I'm giving you Malchus. That was a shvait tashetim. Now, they have such a thing. Rabbi say, I'm just kidding around. It's not that bad. But I did witness little 5-year-olds beating up mommies and tatis. In fact, I was called an emergency to break up the fight. I promise you it's true. I had a few of them. I have few such cases. Did you hear that? So you better watch those kids, watch yourself. Because, you don't want to turn him off. He's an important person in your life, a 5-year-old schnook. I mean, his opinion means a lot. When my sister-in-law used to sell shoes for little kids. She used to see these grown ladies, a big lady with a kid about that big. And the mother would bend down to take her a year to come down. Do you want that pair? Which would you like? And kids said, no, Ma! No, I want that one! No! Okay, I'll be good. And you ever hear a kid tell a parent, Ma, I really mean for your own good, you need a parenting course. You still don't know how to deal with me. You still don't chop, what I'm all about. You don't understand me. So when I grow up, I'll teach you a thing or two. Wait till she grows up. When the kid grows up, watch out. There's a new door coming up. We all used to think like that. Remember when I grow up, then I'm going to know how to do everything, right? Yeah, wait what happens. Anyway, it's not that bad. I'm just want to be funny, so I'm saying that story. The kids in my class have told me how they try to... I get them to say all their secrets. I have 9-year-old kids. I have 28 9-year-old kids. And I tell them, boys, let's hear your secrets. How many boys try to manipulate the parents? Go raise their hands. I once had a depressed kid in the class, very depressed, really bad, twice in my career. 2 different kids, all very depressed. And they both admitted to me they become depressed because it manipulates their parents. When you don't give me what I want, I'm getting depressed. And the mother goes crazy. Oh, I don't want you to be depressed. I'm going to get depressed, Ma. I'm going to get depressed. Maybe they still do that. People want to show they're serious about life. Get depressed, By the way, I have nothing against depression. Since I have nothing against, my thought on depression. I believe nothing wrong being depressed. Nothing wrong, be depressed. The stress of having to be besimcha, that could get you depressed. You're not besimcha. You're not cracking jokes. Mandel, you can't crack jokes. No good. You're too depressive. You didn't come out good in the chasana pictures. Look, you don't know how to smile. You know how much stress people have? Ladies, Hashem Yerachim. When I say Shaleis and Isha, boy, do I have this in mind. A lady has to go, it's Nebuchadnezzar, an American type of lady. Hashem Yerachim to go to a chasana. It's like going to a levaya. When I was a younger bacher, a lady in Mishpach, I overheard, you mean, telling her husband, you mean I have to go to the chasana and smile for 5 hours? It's Achmanis. You have to smile. Tell me you didn't smile. They look at you. And you have to be outgoing. You have to have a personality. Tell me if you don't open your big mouth. And by the way, I want to stick up for quiet people. Nothing wrong being quiet. I'm sorry. I stick up for them big time. A quiet person is not nichshul in Naz Dvorim, in Lashon Hara, in Kaz. They're much healthier people. Quiet guys are the best. The big mouths that everybody, that they're showing themselves off to the whole world all day, the gaiva and everything. Listen to me. If you're a big guy, don't worry about it. You're allowed to enjoy yourself. I'm just sticking up if you're not. I have a case in both directions. But then for this, the quiet guy might have a lot more kedusha because he's quiet and he doesn't talk so much, less averis. Nothing wrong being quiet. I heard this from big people, by the way. Nothing wrong with American Mishigas. Rabbi Miller mentions it. Extrovertism. You got to be extrovert. Who says? Where does it say in the Torah you got to be an extrovert? Where does it say? But, faket, Baba Shtika, come inside, come come. Oi, the tish, you got to push. You want to push the tish over to me. Get some room for the guys. Besides, it makes a good impression. See, he never has to push the table. Here's a good impression. Last night, you couldn't walk. You couldn't walk. The streets were ice. And it wasn't stam ice. It was ice. It was, you better watch every step you take. So I was coming from shul. So the guys got a hold of me. So there was one guy, a very nice guy, this guy. I see. And he send the bottles also. You can send them some vodka too. Anyway, so listen to this. So there were two guys. One was holding one hand, one the other hand. The other guy says, no, I'm putting salt. You can walk here. I says, no. I want to go to these two guys. There's more covered over there. Two people taking me. I want to go where there's more covered. So he had two guys help me, and I went like a shayna, I go with it. I'm the official rate of covered. Bashita, what's wrong? This will cover. Yeah, Rabbi Miller told me. A friend of mine, somebody was offered a job, and there's going to be a lot of covered. He was worried. Yes, Rabbi Miller, they're going to give me covered. So Rabbi Miller says, well, if they give you covered, enjoy it. Did you hear that? Uh-oh. Rabbi Miller said it. Now, I go for that also. Boy, I have covered. Biz do. Boy, I have covered. I'm drowning in covered. I know somehow, and I'm going to tell you this is true, I simply don't get this yayness. I'm not going to say it's such a problem. I'm not Madrega. I'm looking for it. But once in a while, I appreciate it. I have my reasons. Once in a while, I look for it. I'm going to tell you a true story. I look for it, I daven for it, and I get it. Once in a while, not often. Don't look. I got it recently. Boy, did I get it good. Ooh, boy. Oh, Galinsky was once in Vienna, and he was getting too much covered. So he says, any place I can get Bejanis around here? So they tell him, he doesn't go to that place over there. So I asked them what happened. Oh, they knew, they givist the malucha. They know how to put you in your place. Some people, they're good at it. They know how to zog. This person did a job on me, I'll tell you. I was sitting there cavelling. Now the person, this is true, I'm not joking. It's true. The person told me, I have more to say. And I was holishing to, let's hear it. I have more to say about you. So, but this I want to tell you. I have a track record with the people who are mavazim me. I'm very serious about this. I'm going to tell you, it might happen years ago. And orientation. When orientation, all the parents sit down in a room. The Rebbe tells them for 15 minutes what he plans to teach the kids that year. orientation. Husbands, his wives, husbands are standing, wives are sitting. Young people, they're old enough to be my 8 o'clock, these young ladies over there. After I finish my drasha, they all look like distressed. Like, they're a little afraid to move. But one lady, a little older than the rest, gets up right there in front of everyone else and says, Rabbi Mandel, you always say that when you daven, you get whatever you want. I have been davening to get the other Rebbe for my son. How come it's not happening? How do you like that one? Is that a great story? It's not true. No, part is true, but not all of it. I dramatize it to make it more geschmack. But anyway, so that parent, Punkt, had the biggest success. I have a lot of that stuff. Once a father says, this is 25 years ago, he says, you're getting too old. I know it is in real estate, You can't relate to the younger, It's not, you're already over the hill. He tells this to me. This same fellow, 2 years later, had another one of his kids. He gave me $500 cash, Bein Hazmanim, for gratefulness, what he did for his son. I have this all the time. Dafke, where I'm having criticism, there I get the most covered. Now, you don't know the power of B'tachon. When you work on B'tachon, you're in a different world. Hashem treats you different. Even when he has to give you a patch, it's sugar-coated all over the place. It happened to be kama pomim. I get a phone call. Somebody wants me. Somebody was we really got into it. It's rare. I don't look for trouble. I sort of get along. But this guy, he was, and I got a phone call from somebody that so-and-so recommended me as being the great guy that he goes 2 days after he curses me to the ground. He tells the whole world that there's no one better than me. This happens all the time. I'm used to it almost. You get different treatment. Aren't you supposed to? This is a place of bazoyan. I'm confused. And this happens all the time. Listen to this. I was once in the hospital and I was going through a procedure which was extremely painful. And the doctor said, the nurse who made a mistake, she did it wrong. And she had to do it all over again. She almost had a nervous breakdown because of what the pain she was causing me. It made her crazy. Oh, I'm so sorry. She was going nuts. And I says, what's your problem? She says, the pain I just gave you. I says, I don't know what you're talking about. I promise. This is a true story. I don't know what you're doing. No, Rabbi, I know what I did. Don't tell me you're trying to make me feel good. I'm not trying to make you feel good. I didn't feel no pain. It's a true story. She did it again. I didn't feel nothing. She said, no, if you are a person who's close to the Eibishter, Makurav Lamalchus, you're treated different. You could be the worst, who knows what. The Eibishter loves people who trust him. He treats them totally different. You're Makurav Lamalchus. You get different treatment. You don't know the power of B'tachon. I once had a Maisa with my foot was in bad shape. And I had to sit, my foot had to be raised while I taught. And while I did anything, they said for the rest of my life, that's the matzah, Hashem Yirach. And I was and I started working on B'tachon and it was still, but something funny happened. It was super comfortable. My foot was raised on a different chair while I taught. Mamish felt like an Lechatchila, it's crazy. You put the foot up, makes you sugar. And Mamish just the opposite. It didn't make sense. I asked my Rebbe, Rabbi Isa. Rabbi Isa said, that's the power of B'tachon. You put a bracha on that area that you're working on. A bracha is chal. Even if it's not exactly what you want right away. Eventually I got what I want also. But along the way, I've seen this with kids. At B'tachon, one of my kids, that kufa, the kid looked happier than ever. Because B'tachon raised a chal on that person. You think positive. You think good things about a person. The Eibishter gives a bracha to that person. What B'tachon does, it's unbelievable. So kedai. B'tachon ayin teva also. Listen to this. Somebody just called me up. He was in his 40s. He had a kid who was a rascal, a real kid was turning over the house from the school. He's making everybody Meshuggah. And so I put him on a program. You're going to say nice things about the kid without him looking. And you're going to speak talking things about him. Do that. He calls me like 2 months later. His son turned around completely. A new kid. You don't talk to the kid. Just talk all day to your wife, how great he is, and he's Ayin Tova is a very big koyach besides talking. He's going to do great and fine. Lie a little bit. This is my prescription. It works like magic. Now, P.S. The wife told the husband, "Do you know you look younger? You know you look younger? When you work on bitachon, your whole body likes it. Better than any vitamin in the world. Bitachon, working on bitachon gives a bracha to your whole neshama, your whole body, and your whole everything. Bitachon is nothing. I recommend an hour a day if you can do it, a half hour, 10 minutes, whatever. But more you work on bitachon, think positive and talk positive. Never, never, ever verbalize a negative emotion. My wife knows when I come home, and I start saying I had a great day today at school. She says, "Uh-oh, what happened?" Because you always, and Rav Hutner said, when you're wrong, scream loudest. I always do that. Recently, something happened. Whatever I felt. I'm not talking. Anyway, I went into the Rebbe's room in my school, and I start telling the Rebbe's, "Do you know how successful I am? There are 500 copies of Bitachon Weeklies in the Haifa. The guy just called me up. He's giving it out. See the Shagai. And in Muncie, another guy gives out a few hundred. And this guy, Australia, always knows about me. And I got Kfar Atan, Kfar this, and world, Detroit, got me all over the place." And I started talking, and he said, "Oh, that's very nice." And when I finished my drush, I said, "You think that's the only thing going on in my life? You don't think there's another side going on, you know that? But I'm not discussing it. Not with you, not with my wife, and not even the Eibishter. Lav Dafka." Yaakov Avinu said, "Yesh li koil." And when there's two sides. No matter what's going on in your life, there's always a good side. You have to harvest, say only the good. Leave that out. Keep away from it. Poison. We need to talk about the latest problem. You know what's wrong, and this will go wrong. It complicates you, makes you Meshuggah. Don't talk. Rabbi Miller says, never verbalize a negative emotion. Always better a positive lie than a negative truth. Speak positive things. Day and night, I'm so happy to be alive. I'm so happy whatever it is, I'm so happy I had Bizyanis yesterday. It was beautiful. This Bizyanis I have to admit, I really enjoyed it. I'm not always on that much regular. Don't think I'm so great. But this Bizyanis, this person knew how to do it. And I had davened for it. And it's so hard. It's not the first time this happened. That I davened that Chaim, I saw a relationship that was poisoned. Chaim and Getzel are poisoned. And I davened they should hate each other. And years later, I noticed the way they're fighting. I said, how come they can't go, oh, I once davened for that. That's something. I once davened for that. And it's going strong 10 years later. You imagine when you daven, you can get anything you want. It's the Eibishter. Anything you want. Hakol yochel. You have to be, I'll tell you something happened to me recently. There's a certain family that doesn't hold too much for me. Listen, let me tell you something. I went to it for a Weinkrantz, that's all. On the body. He said, a good guest says, I know you like me. I know you like me. They don't get involved. He said, everyone likes me. Be a Taman. Don't be so smart. You get smart, you're in trouble. Just, they like me. Goodbye. Now, what happened? So generally, maybe I'm a Taman, but for some reason I get the feeling that I have covered bizdu. One particular family, I once heard a remark, which between you and me is Dimian. They didn't mean anything. But these guys are making fun of me. So they needed something in that family. And they had the biggest nisim in the universe. On the spot, there was a very, very physical illness that mamish disappeared, mamish on the spot. And then there's some mental stuff going on, and it all improved like very quickly. You know what I did? Listen to this one. I says, these people don't hold much for me. Show them who I am. Show them who I am, I promise you. Show them who I am. And you speak the way you feel. I told us to them right away. I'll turn around. Because, see, now you know who I am? Okay? Got better right away? It's a problem. There is a problem being thankful. I mean, there's so many cases of people that people had nisim, guluyim, and they talk to you like, oh yeah, I forgot about that. We all do this. It doesn't. I once had two different people in the same tkufa. One of them needed a child to get married, had terrible shalom bayis, terrible parnasa problems, and one other issue. So Bekitza, 3 out of 4. And the next time this person called me, there was a big Yeshua. With the Shidduch was a Yeshua, and with the Shalom Bayis was a Yeshua, and something with Gesund was a Yeshua. And they never called me. All they called me about was there was a financial problem coming up. And I said, wait a minute. The last time we spoke a couple of months ago, you had trouble with the Shidduch. Oh yeah, we got a Glick Shidduch. Okay, so why didn't you ever call me? Oh yeah, you're right, I should have called you. And he was eating his heart out about getting a Shidduch just a few months ago. Now he got a Glick Shidduch. He didn't say a word about it. Nothing about the Shidduch. Suddenly his wife is getting along with him for the first time in who knows when. He used to kvetch about his wife. Suddenly the wife... I have a lot of such cases. Another guy had trouble learning and he couldn't learn for it. And now he was like... And now he's calling me up. He's having a problem with financial. And his wife, he had trouble with his wife. He had trouble with his learning. And he calls me up about the money. I said, 1 second. What's with your wife? Oh, that's all gone completely. And what's with the learning? Oh, I never learned so much in my life. I said, why didn't you tell me a thing about this? So yeah, Maisa with a guy called me up. One of my favorite stories. Rabbi Mendel, a year ago, I had no money left, and you gave me one bracha, and the money started flowing like crazy. So I said, so what are you calling me now for? A year later. He said, well, now the money's suddenly not going anymore. So, now you're coming again. I want to tell you something just happened. He said, people know me too well already. They know all my jokes. I come to a chasana, and my relatives, they come, oh, Mandel, yeah, you're drinking, so you see two of us, all my jokes, whoever I bump into. Anyway, I just got off the phone. It's a very nice lady, and the lady tells me, and I gave brachas, and she says, I didn't even say anything. Don't worry, I'm going to call you up to tell you everything's okay. And don't worry, I'm going to tell the whole world what a big b'mayfus you are. I says, where'd you hear that? She says, I know you already. They all know me. They all know my jokes already. Have to be b'chadash, new jokes. Give me a bracha, Rabbi Yisrael. I should get new jokes, Be'ez Hashem. I have new jokes. Dave's all helping. This Adim Nahapacho, I know a younger man who couldn't go to the bathroom. He one Purim, boom. Mitzvah Purim, back to the bathroom. I know the guy. I know a guy, what Purim could do, and the guy couldn't do a shidduch. He was in his 30s. One Purim, he was serious as a few months later, Chasen. Purim, and now Purim starts now, but Afichu, turn around. Don't be in the spot, what? Want to sing? Let's go. Lama singing. What do you want to... Now, I want to tell you, yes, my niggin. This niggin by me is I don't know, for some, I like this one. Utsu Eitza by me is Neri Nereis.
Utsu Eitza
It's so far. Hey, Dabra Dava Vilayaka. Hey, Utsu Eitza Dabra Dava Vilayaka.